Hi, Ricky. Thank you again for joining me for this interview.
You're welcome. So, hello, everybody.
Today, I wanted to ask you some questions about English job interview tips.
Okay.
Before we get started, could you please tell me a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in job interviews in English?
Okay, I can do that. Now, my name is Ricky. I've been teaching at Berlitz now for over 24 years. I teach everybody from young learners to adult students. And the reason I'm interested in interviews is because I get a lot of requests. So when it comes down to doing interviews, I really do like this as a topic because I find it fun and enjoyable. And when I say this to my students, they're like, interviews, fun, enjoyable. They doubt it. But it is really true because they are fun, they are enjoyable. And if you know what to do or how to respond, you will like them too.
I would love to enjoy interviews. Maybe by the end of this video, I'll like interviews as well.
Let's see what tips and suggestions I can give you to be more comfortable when speaking in English and asking questions.
My first question for you is, are there any differences between Japanese and English job interviews?
Very much so. When it comes down to Western interviews, i.e. in English, it's often down to the style of questions and the actions or the things that the people are looking for. For example, in a Western interview, they're going to ask you about your experience. They're going to ask you about your skills. Qualifications are nice, but they're not always important. When we see your CV or your resume, we look at that. That is good. But we want to know about your experience. Can you do the job? So, for example, they may say, okay, you're interested in working in the purchasing department. So can you give me an example of something that you have done in this role? Or how would you deal with this situation if it came up in your job? So they're looking to listen to these responses. Whereas in a Japanese job interview, it's a little different. So it's all about, are you okay as a fit in that company? And they want to know you as a person, what activities you do.
Yeah, that's very important because I guess for English interviews, you need to be quite prepared to give a lot of examples of past experiences to back up a lot of your answers.
Very much so.
My next question about English interviews in particular, do you always need to be fluent in order to do an English job interview?
No, you don't. At the end of the day, you don't need to be perfect at everything. Now, preparation does help. And if you're preparing for the questions and the responses, which is where many people worry, then you can sound better. As long as you practice, you can sound better. But to be 100% fluent, no. I know you're not a native speaker when I'm interviewing you. I know you're from Japan. I know you're from another country. So I'm aware that you're going to sound a little different. I'm aware you will use different vocabulary. You can prepare for it. You can sound more knowledgeable. But at the end of the day, fluency helps, but it's not the key factor. It's getting your message across. It's selling yourself that is the most important part.
Yeah, I think that's also a good point, is that not only just being able to speak fluently or naturally, but also not focusing on answering everything perfectly, but like being able to respond in real time. And it doesn't matter if you make too many mistakes because you're not expected to be native, just as you said. My next question, I wanted to ask you if you have any tips on how to prepare for interviews or just in general, how to do an interview.
Okay, no problems. Now, as I mentioned earlier, preparation's the most important part. Now, even when I do interviews, I get myself a piece of paper. I break that down into multiple squares. I write down a question in each square that I'm possibly going to be asked or that I might want to know information about. Because remember, an interview is two-way. So why do you want to work for this company? Okay, that's a really good question. It's a common question. I write down maybe 2 or 3 bullet reasons below the question in that square. Number one, you have a very good career option. So the ability to progress in the company is good. For many students, they want to go overseas. So your company has opportunities for working overseas. Good. So for each question, write down possible responses and then how you reply to that question with those responses. You may find some answers are the same as another part, which makes it easier. But it also gives you the chance to practice those questions and then practice those answers, because this is what they're going to be asking you.
Do you think it's a good idea or a bad idea to memorize your answers word for word?
No, please don't. You never know if the question will be asked or not asked. They may ask you the question in a slightly different way. And if they do that, then your memorized answer is not going to match their possible question because it's changed. Focusing only on those few phrases, no, don't memorize it. Know what you want to say, practice in different ways, but don't memorize it 100%. This is the same for interviews, for presentations, for many things in English.
Okay, so you would say instead of trying to memorize the perfect grammar, one particular sentence to answer the questions that you're prepared for, it's best to practice answering the questions over and over again, and each time just answering naturally. So that's your tip one then, to prepare for questions. What's your second tip?
My second tip is practicing. Just looking at the question and then just saying that is not giving you that two-way practice. Do role play practice. I would ask a friend to help me, maybe a colleague or a family member. They don't have to be native speakers or fluent in English. They're just reading your question. And then you can respond. Now, if you don't have that option, then again, you can use a voice recorder, record person A's, i.e. the question, and then you respond with the answer. Now, this time I'm going to add an extra step to it. Now, when you're actually saying your answer to the question, actually record your answer, because you want to listen to how you sound. My tip here for the second one is have someone either practice with you or self-practice, but record your answer so you can listen to it later and then double check if it's okay or not okay, and then make adjustments.
I think that's also a great way to find out some words that you actually don't know. If you record yourself answering a question and you think, oh, I didn't know how to say that specific word, so I had to work around the word, and then you learn new vocabulary as well. And
very much so. And it's fantastic for pronunciation as well. My third tip is, what questions do you want to ask the company? Write those down. Write down the answers that you're expecting. If they don't respond in the way, then you need to ask more questions to clarify or to dig deeper. So even if they offer you the job, you can say no. Or if they offer you the job and you are happy with the question, you can say yes. So it's that two-way interview. It's the third tip, and it's really important in my honest opinion.
I think asking the company questions can be useful both in helping you decide if you want to join that company and also further helping the company decide if they want to hire you. Are there any questions to ask the company that are easy go-to questions for beginners?
There are a couple of paths that you really want to know about. So one of those is like benefits, and another one is about opportunities within the company. So as an example, what kind of benefits do you offer within the company for me to develop my skills and give more back to the company? My second question is about the direction. Now, I'm interested in developing my skills and in the future, taking more responsibilities in a higher position within the company. So what career paths do you have for me? What do I need to do to progress within the company? These basic go-to questions that relate to the two topics.
I have one more question for you. Sometimes the problem that people might have, especially if they're not fluent in English, if you don't understand the question, it can kind of make you shut down a little bit. But not hearing the question or not understanding the question happens even for native English speakers, right? What are some good, simple phrases that people can use in an interview when they didn't hear or understand.
One phrase that you could use at the very top, sorry, I didn't hear your question. Very simple. Sorry, could you say that again? Or could you say that again in another way? Or could you paraphrase that for me? Is the same meaning. I'd also say give yourself time to respond by repeating the question or responding to the question. So if they say to you, okay, so why do you want to work for the company? Okay, now that's an interesting question. Or that's a good question is a good way of responding back. And it gives you thinking time. Okay, the reasons I want to work for the company. So I'm now repeating the question in my answer, and it shows that I understood the question as well. So the reason I want to work for the company is because you offer many opportunities in this area. So now I'm responding, I'm pausing the question, I'm giving myself time to think. If I don't know, I get them to say it again, or I get them to repeat the question in a way that I can understand. Those are very useful ways of doing it.
Do you have any final advice for people that are going to be doing job interviews in English this year?
Yes. There's, maybe it's a fifth tip, but the advice I would give you is please go to the company's website and research the company. Use that information for you to prepare your questions, prepare your answers, prepare the questions you want to ask.
I think some of the advice that I learned from you today as well is once you are prepared, definitely don't worry too much if you don't understand. It's okay to ask questions. Just make sure that you've practiced lots of different ways of answering interview questions so you don't freeze when you don't get that exact perfect question that you were prepared for. Well, those were all my questions for you, and I hope this was useful for anybody who is preparing for interviews in English.
Yeah, I hope so too. In fact, if anybody has any questions who watches the video, why not post your questions in the comments down below? Berlitz can respond with tips and suggestions as well.
Thank you. Okay, bye everybody. Bye, Ricky.
動画をご覧いただきありがとうございました。ベルリッツのブログにも英語での面接やビジネス英語の記事が載っていますので、より詳しく読みたい方はぜひ参考にしてみてください。自信を持って英語を話したい方はぜひチャンネル登録してくださいね。See you next time!